Urban+Entertainment+Martial Arts. A entertainment text you have never seen before. Everyone in this world can enter dreams. Xing discovered that the dream rules in the Chinese region were related to martial arts, and he could create all the martial arts in his memory, so that the Nine Yin Manual set him a sales record. Dugu Jiujian allows him to lead the trend of the times. Dragon subduing 18 palms has brought him countless fans. As the youngest Heavenly Kingdom superstar in history, a Grand Slam winner of 5 major awards including the Martial God Award, Sword God Award, and Heavenly Knife Award, what else is there that you want to pursue? The reporter asked so. Xing said, the greatest swordsman is for the country and the people. In my life, I only hope to have a clear conscience. Completed 10,000 orders of high-quality martial arts live room with quality assurance, keywords of the novel. My martial arts are globally popular without pop-ups, my martial arts are globally popular. Download the complete TXT collection, and read the latest chapters on my martial arts are globally popular. Chapter 1. Nightmares and Martial Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Nightmares and Martial Arts, Get Lost. On the long street, the hero wore white clothes with blood, his eyes wide open in anger, and his palms thrust forward with a fierce thrust. The fierce palm wind surged like a raging wave, and a group of officers and soldiers charging forward with knives were immediately thrown upside down and their formation was chaotic. Let's go! The white-clad hero shouted to his companions behind him. Dragon King. The commander of the iron-armored army is likely a nightmare that evolves into this realm. We will cut the line for you, and you will go and kill the other party to end all of this. Someone shouted from behind. What if it's still wrong? At this point, we can only take a gamble. Okay. The white-clad hero, known as the Dragon King, was not affected and didn't say a word of nonsense. He directly used his lightness skills and jumped onto the roof. After identifying the direction, he quickly moved towards the target. Along the way, there were experts from the iron-clad army intercepting him, with bows and arrows, iron hooks, wire mesh, and other objects emerging one after another. The Dragon King kept running at high speed, and his strong internal power stimulated the fierce palm wind, which could sweep over a distance of more than 10 meters in one step. The experts in front of him were like being swept by a hurricane, with blood exploding. The dancing tiles, the collapsed roof, and the figure flying out like a shell from the impact. The Dragon King killed through this long street with a force of overturning the river and the sea. When he reached the target person, his white clothes had completely dyed into blood. At this moment, the other party was still surrounded by dozens of officers and soldiers, wielding swords and halberds, with a murderous aura. Dog thief, use your head. The Dragon King remained unwavering and rushed forward alone. It's another bloody battle. What a big dream. Xing opened his eyes in bed and murmured, looking a bit tired, as if he had just stayed up all night. A few seconds later, the room shimmered with light, and 3 pale golden round cards were generated out of thin air and landed on his bed, which he had already taken for granted. This thing is called a martial arts performance order, which is the reward for watching that dream just now. Picking up his phone and opening a news app, Xing indeed saw the relevant news. The dream-breaking team led by Iron-Armed Dragon King, Yan Hailong had just successfully cracked the 3-star short-term nightmare, Red Shadow, with a difficulty of 16 people. Yan Hailong killed the Red Shadow Nightmare, who had transformed into the commander of the iron-armored army, under the siege of heavy troops. 6 Wuxing people died in battle in this dream. After leaving the dream, they suffered severe mental damage and have all been declared to have entered the cultivation period. It is expected that they will not enter the dream again within 6 months. According to statistics, the number of dreamers in Red Shadow is over 73 million, temporarily ranking first on this year's dream list. Xing looked at the comments section and found that most of them were praising the Iron-Armed Dragon King for his prowess, while some netizens were praying for the 6 cultivated martial stars, hoping that their condition could return to its original state. After scrolling through the news, Xing put down his phone. He has been traveling to this world for over a month now, but occasionally he still has an unreal feeling because there are many strange things in this world. For example, the movie Red Shadow he just dreamt of watching is not a movie, there is no script, and everything that happens inside is a true interpretation. 34 years ago, the first batch of nightmares appeared on the blue stars of this world, which were monsters that could weave various dreams on their own and could not be killed by any practical means. After the dream is generated, Nightmare will provide a certain quota for people to enter the dream for a deep experience. If we cannot gather all the slots for the deep experience within 10 days, the Nightmare will explode and randomly force more people to dream on a large scale. And those who enter dreams for deep experiences will encounter various dangers, and nightmares will use various means to kill them. People who are killed in dreams can be as exhausted and have a splitting headache, or as severe as brain death. For example, in the 3-star nightmares that Yan Hailong and others, known as the Iron Arm Dragon King, participated in just now, those who died in the dream only suffered a heavy mental injury after returning to reality, and will not die. But if it is a higher star dream, there is a risk of death. At first, people could only actively expose some people to nightmares every 10 days, allowing them to have a deep experience and prevent them from exploding. However, as the number of nightmares increased, this approach became too passive. Because if nightmares cannot be killed in the dream, their power in the dream will become increasingly powerful. When they evolve to a higher star level, the people who dream will truly die. A high-star nightmare may only kill a dozen or so people every 10 days, but as the number of nightmares increases and there are 100, 1,000, or 10,000 high-star nightmares, which country can tolerate such slaughter? If nightmares cannot be contained, the social order of the human world will eventually collapse, and the end will come sooner or later. So people began to fight against nightmares desperately in their dreams, but all the rules in dreams were made by nightmares, and in order to defeat them, people must follow their rules. If the dreams generated by nightmares are viewed as a game, what people need to do is enter the game, upgrade, and strengthen themselves according to the rules of the game, in order to defeat the boss, Nightmare, and ultimately pass the level. What makes Xing even more interesting is that nightmares in different regions generate corresponding rules based on the culture of that region. For example, nightmares appearing in China generate martial arts rules based on the martial arts culture of China. The so-called martial arts rule, in simple terms, is to give you an internal skill mental method. In reality, practicing it may only lead to kidney stones, but in dreams, practicing it can really cultivate internal power. You can fly eaves and walls, split gold and stones, just like Yan Hailong, the Iron Arm Dragon King, in Red Shadow. He is an ordinary person in reality, but a top expert in dreams. But it is not realistic to slowly practice martial arts in the dream generated by nightmares, because nightmares will not give you time for sleazy development, and will not make you go from a rookie to an unparalleled expert before fighting you again. At this point, the martial arts order comes into play. This is something that will fall out of a nightmare after it is eliminated. It is formed by absorbing human energy and can be considered a fantasy product. Ordinary people can generate a safe dream by using their martial arts exercise orders, and they can also practice martial arts in the safe dream. Moreover, the martial arts cultivated in the safe dream can be brought into other dreams. Xing understood it as universal for all dream data, which can save one's own martial arts cultivation in a safe dream, and then read files in the dream generated by the nightmare. A martial arts exercise token can maintain a safe dream for 10 minutes. In addition, quickly consuming the exercise order can also accelerate the time flow in dreams, thereby increasing the proficiency of martial arts and greatly accelerating the progress of martial arts cultivation. In this way, martial arts orders are like skill points and attribute points in a game. If people want to fight against nightmares, the more martial arts orders they have, the better. The number of martial arts orders dropped is not only related to the level of the nightmare itself, but also to the number of people accessing the dream. The more people are connected to the dream, the more energy the nightmare can absorb, and the more martial arts orders it can ultimately condense. The quota for deep experience in each dream is limited, but there is no upper limit to the quota for observing at a shallow level. Moreover, observing at a shallow level in a dream will not participate in the evolution of the dream, will not come into contact with everything in the dream, and there will be no danger. It will only consume a part of one's own energy, like an audience. In Li Xing's view, the dream is like a play, which needs not only the protagonist, supporting role, long tao, villains and other roles, but also the audience. Because the more viewers there are, the more popular the show becomes, and the more rewards it ultimately brings. Just like the movie Red Shadow, that Li Xing just watched, the number of dreamers this time reached over 73 million, all of whom were viewers watching from the shallow layers of the dream. It was precisely because of their observation that after the Red Shadow nightmare was eliminated, the dream-breaking team led by Yan Hailong could earn an additional 73 million martial arts orders. In addition, as an audience member, Li Xing ultimately received 3 martial arts performance orders. This is like watching a video at a certain point where you can earn coins. As an audience member, Li Xing puts in his energy. After the nightmare is eliminated, all of his energy condenses into a martial arts order, with some given to the characters, who have a deep experience, and the other part given to himself, which can be said to be a win-win situation. The more viewers there are, the more martial arts performances they will ultimately receive. Therefore, in order to quickly become stronger in dreams and obtain more martial arts performances, attention and traffic are needed. For this reason, the country chose to disclose information about nightmares 34 years ago and encouraged public participation. People with martial arts talents in dreams can obtain deep experience spots through layer-by-layer selection, becoming characters. People without talent can also act as spectators, provide support, and earn martial arts orders. In this context, 34 years later today, the most dazzling star in China has never been a singer or movie star, but another type of star. Wuxing. A celebrity who knows martial arts is a martial arts star. These celebrities are not only well-known and advantageous, but also highly respected because their work is for the country and the people. Although not every dream can lead to death, the number of martial stars sacrificed each year is not small. Even if they haven't died, there are many people who suffer from mental trauma and have a splitting headache, enduring prolonged pain. However, even so, there are still millions of people in China who want to become martial stars. Li Xing understands this very well. While professions such as police, doctors, and soldiers are respected by people, they may remain unknown throughout their lives, and their income may not necessarily be high. However, the profession of martial arts stars not only has the same respected attributes, but also combines the fame and income of celebrities, naturally making it more attractive. Due to the presence of martial stars, heroes are no longer nameless. Due to the presence of martial stars, chasing them is no longer an embarrassing thing to say. Due to the presence of martial artists, the greatest hero is for the country and the people, is no longer just a slogan. Li Xing likes this world. P.S. This book is not following the traditional path of entertainment. Although literary copying focuses on martial arts, its core is different from traditional entertainment literature because martial arts stars are not entertainment stars. The great hero is truly serving the country and the people. Friends who enjoy watching entertainment works can take a look at this book, because the excitement of copying martial arts, songs, and movies is actually the same. This book will give you an alternative entertainment experience. Wouldn't it be even more enjoyable to change positions? Friends who enjoy watching martial arts and fighting upgrades, as well as those who have read my Martial Arts Live Room, should know what I am best at writing, so this book will definitely meet your needs as well. Finally, please do not rely on books and read them every day in order to go further. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Wuxing Creation Camp. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Wuxing Creation Camp, Try Again Today. Li Xing took out a box from the drawer and opened it. Inside were neatly stacked stacks of martial arts orders, and with the 3 he had just obtained today, there were already 36. Lying down again, he clasped his hands and placed a martial arts order on his chest, closed his eyes, and almost instinctively activated the martial arts order. The next second, the martial arts practitioner emitted a faint golden light. Dreams. Start. When Li Xing regained his senses, he was already in a blank space with nothing around him. This is the safe dream generated by the martial arts order. Li Xing could clearly feel that his physical strength had increased significantly compared to in reality, which was the result of his original body using martial arts training orders for many years. In addition, he also felt a warm current inside his body, which was the internal power he had cultivated. Despite experiencing it multiple times, Li Xing still couldn't conceal his excitement, using his mind to control the warm flow inside his body and perceive the changes in his body. When his internal strength reached his legs, he suddenly jumped forward and jumped 4 or 5 meters away. The world record for standing long jump on Earth is only over 3 meters but less than 4 meters, and he has easily broken the record now. This is the effect of internal power. I hope to succeed this time. Li Xing took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and began to contemplate. The next second, he entered an inner vision state and clearly saw the dense meridians and acupoints inside his body. In reality, these meridians and acupoints naturally do not exist, but in dreams, the cultivation of martial arts cannot do without them. But now what Li Xing needs to do is not to cultivate martial arts, but to create martial arts. All the martial arts in the dream are not generated out of thin air, but have logic and rules to follow. Even if this rule is set by nightmare, it must be followed by itself, which means that people can create even more powerful martial arts based on the rules than nightmare cultivates themselves. The 3 books, Basic Theory of the 108 Meridians of the Human Body, Principles of the 365 Great Orifices of the Human Body, and Calculation Rules of the 108 Small Orifices of the Human Body Surrounding Heavens, are the basic theories of martial arts summarized by predecessors based on the dream rules of the Huaxia region. All the creation of martial arts cannot be separated from these 3 books, just like the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division rules are to mathematics. Li Xing was originally a student at Kyoto Musashi University, and naturally had relevant knowledge in his memory. However, what Li Xing was going to do at this time was not based on theory, but fabricated out of thin air. Before his time traveling, he was a street fighting writer who wrote martial arts novels. With a strong passion, he persisted in writing for 7 years. After time travel, whenever he enters a dream, the various martial arts skills from the martial arts novels he had read before time travel will come to mind, giving him a feeling that they can be turned into reality at any time. The Nine Yin Manual, the 9 Yang Manual, 18 Dragons Subduing Palms, Dugu Jiujian, 6 Veins Divine Sword. But when he wants to further manifest these martial arts, the entire dream becomes very unstable and begins to accelerate consumption. Perhaps more martial arts orders are needed. With this idea in mind, Li Xing began to accumulate martial arts training orders and tried again and again. Maybe this is the golden finger that I have traveled through. After all, he had never heard of anyone who created martial arts to consume the exercise order. This time he had 36 martial arts practice orders in his hand, and he began to observe the names and characteristics of those martial arts in his memory one by one, trying to make them manifest. After an unknown amount of time, the entire dream space suddenly began to vibrate violently. Now let me announce the rules for the first round of the competition of Wuxing Creation Camp Season 2. In a large studio, the stepped seats on both sides were filled with people. The host stood in the center of the studio, with a whiteboard behind him adorned with many famous brands. This is the live broadcast of the second season of Wuxing Creation Camp. There is also an entertainment industry in this world, but the most distinctive one is the martial arts circle where martial stars gather. Because obtaining a martial arts performance order requires attention, the more people who observe dreams, the more martial arts performance orders they can ultimately obtain. It is best for the people of the whole country to spend a few hours watching dreams every day, but this is clearly unrealistic. Although nightmares are a matter of human life and death, they kill frogs boiled in warm water. Even if they go berserk at first, the number of people killed is limited. Perhaps the number of people killed by nightmares every day at the beginning is not as many as the number of people killed in car accidents every day in the country. The sense of crisis gradually accumulates, just like no one would pay attention to the issue of a certain country's heat leakage every day. It is impossible to keep everyone consciously aware of the nightmare situation. Huagua can certainly mandate that everyone must spend a few hours watching their dreams every day, but if it is enforced every day for decades, it is like forcing everyone to work overtime for a few hours every day. In the end, it will only erode everyone's enthusiasm, leaving numbness and boredom, which is very detrimental to the development of the martial arts circle. So what is the best way to attract more people to actively observe dreams? There is already a mature and feasible solution in real life. The entertainment industry. Because entertainment is a part of life, if we turn the warriors in our dreams into national idols, make watching our dreams a form of entertainment plus patriotism, and make everyone actively want to go to their dreams and watch their favorite martial stars, the initiative will be different. That's also why there are martial stars in this world. So the development model of the martial arts circle in this world is quite similar to that of the entertainment industry, with various talent shows and variety shows. Before Xing traveled, he had already signed up for a talent show called Wuxing Creation Camp Season 2, and was successfully admitted, becoming one of the 100 contestants in the creation camp. Today is the official day of joining the camp, and Xing is currently live streaming. The first round rule is a 1 vs 1 knockout round, where 100 contestants must eliminate 50 in the first round. The host's words fell, and the whole room suddenly heard screams of surprise. In the first round of the competition, half of the players were eliminated directly, which is much more cruel than the format of the first season. But that's not over yet. The host turned around and pointed to the whiteboard behind him. On this whiteboard, there are a total of 43 people who have posted their brand names. They are all the contestants who entered the top 64 of the first season of the creation camp. Next, I will draw lots to invite the remaining 57 people to come up and stick their brand names one by one. You can choose your opponent from these 43 veteran contestants. Wow! To the right of the host came an uproar, with all the newcomers from this season sitting here and the contestants from the previous season on the left. The first season of Wuxing Creation Camp can be said to have been very successful. The champion of the first season, Liang Feiyu, was signed by Xingyue Company, one of the 5 giants in the martial arts world. He won the Wuxing Award for Best Newcomer of the Year last year and is truly the king of newcomers. In addition, the other 9 people in the top 10 have also successfully debuted, and several of them have developed very well and have already entered the ranks of third-tier martial stars. From this, it can be seen how high the quality of the players in the first season of the creation camp is. The remaining veteran players who did not make it to the top 64 of the previous season are not weak. Wow, is playing so exciting at the beginning of this season. On the top of 100 contestants, 5 people sat on the second floor facing the direction of the whiteboard. They were the mentors for this season. At this moment, the speaker was a man wearing sunglasses, with a beard, and dressed very trendy. His name is Mo Shan, he is skilled in lightness skills and is nicknamed Ghost Chasing. He is the lightness skill mentor of the creation camp. A man sitting next to Mo Shan has dyed his white hair. He is He Qiming, a white Shura, who serves as a hidden weapon mentor. These 2 people also held the same positions in the previous season and are already old faces in the creation camp. To the left of He Qiming is a middle-aged man with a slightly overweight figure and a friendly smile. This person sits among the 5 mentors, obviously with the highest rank. He is the martial star Yan Hailong, also known as the Iron Arm Dragon King in the martial arts world, who successfully cracked the dream of Red Shadow last night. He serves as the martial arts mentor for this season. It is also because the first season of the creation camp became popular that this season was able to invite heavyweight superstars like Yan Hailong. To Yan Hailong's left sat two young and beautiful women, namely Jiang Meiqi and Lu Yunqing. They are also newcomers to the creation camp, with Jiang Meiqi, the Peacock Sword, as the weapons mentor for this season, and Lu Yunqing, the Dawn, as the martial arts creation mentor for this season. That's what's interesting. Upon hearing Mo Shan's words, Jiang Meiqi excitedly waved her fist, showing that she didn't mind the commotion. Mo Shan turned his head to look at her and said with a smile, "The old players in the first season were all very strong. Newcomers have to face these people in the first round, it's not easy to play." Jiang Meiqi. I believe there must be some amazing newcomers in this season as well. Mo Shan. Then let's wait and see. As the two spoke, the host below had already selected the first newcomer and asked the other person to come on stage with their own name tag to select their opponent. Choose which one and stick their name tag under the opponent's name tag. Guess who he would choose? Mo Shan turned his head and asked the other four mentors. I guess he must choose the blank space to post. Jiang Meiqi said. Because there are only 43 old players, the new players who come on first actually have the opportunity to stick their brand names in blank spaces and avoid those old players. Sure enough, the contestant decisively placed their name tag in the blank space. The four contestants who were drawn next also chose to stick their brand names in the blank space, and were unwilling to face those old contestants in the first round. At this moment, the camera caught the old players sitting in the left half, almost everyone's faces showing a smile. This feeling of being scared is really good. Number 97, Li Xing. At this moment, the host drew Li Xing's registration number. Li Xing stood up from his seat and walked towards the field with his name tag in his hand. Hua, this one is quite handsome. Seeing the appearance of Li Xing, these thoughts flashed through the hearts of the five mentors at the same time. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Opponents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Opponents. He is 1.83 meters tall, with a face that is 3% rebellious, 7% masculine, and the remaining 90% handsome. This is what Li Xing looked like after crossing over. His appearance immediately caught the attention of five mentors, and Mo Shan directly praised him. The appearance is good. Although Wuxing is different from other celebrities in terms of appearance requirements, with similar martial arts skills, outstanding Wuxing will have higher popularity, and the dreams they enter will attract more viewers. There's no way, the world of looking at faces is just so realistic. Yunqing, he's still your junior. Jiang Meiqi suddenly pointed to the large screen below and said. When each contestant takes the stage, some simple personal introductions will be displayed on the large screen at the scene, and the content displayed by Li Xing is. Li Xing. 19 years old. Kyoto Takashi University, a freshman student of the Fist Law School. Power value. 858.62, Lu Yunqing looked at the big screen and nodded, yes. She is also a student at Kyoto Takashi University, majoring in martial arts creation. She is currently in her senior year and has not yet graduated. In fact, in the first season of the creation camp, there were only 4 mentors responsible for lightness skills, hidden weapons, fists and feet, and weapons, and there was no martial arts creation mentor. However, this season, due to the addition of Lu Yunqing, the program team specially added the position of martial arts creation mentor. The reason for this is that Lu Yunqing is a well-known talented woman in the industry. She has released more than 10 martial arts courses before graduating from university. One of them, Dawn Decision, has a high rating of 91, ranking among the top-level martial arts. Moreover, her download volume has exceeded 50 million, making her one of the top 3 martial arts download rankings this year, making her famous overnight. She was nicknamed Dawn as a result, symbolizing that her talent may bring light and hope to the entire martial arts world. Among the 5 mentors present, the Heavenly King Yan Hailong naturally held the highest position, followed by Lu Yunqing. Although she and the other 3 were all first-line martial stars, the martial stars who could create martial arts were naturally one level higher than ordinary martial stars. Therefore, when Lu Yunqing spoke, the other 4 mentors turned their heads to look at her. Lu Yunqing was slightly nervous. Although she was already at the level of a top-tier martial arts star, she mainly relied on publishing her martial arts skills and spent most of her time studying in school. She rarely appeared in public and even participated in variety shows for the first time, which inevitably made her somewhat uncomfortable. "Do you know him?" Jiang Meiqi took the initiative to find a topic. Lu Yunqing shook her head and said, "I don't know." Jiang Meiqi smiled and said, "But he must know you. As a recognized beauty and talented woman in Jingwu, there should be no one among Jingwu's students who does not know Lu Yunqing." Lu Yunqing smiled awkwardly. "Oh, he's going to choose an old contestant." Mo Shan suddenly shouted. His words made several mentors turn their attention back to the field, and indeed they found Li Xing standing in front of a pile of old contestants with his own brand, seemingly wanting to choose one from them. "Oh, it's interesting." Mo Shan rubbed his hands excitedly and said, "Who do you think he would choose?" "It definitely won't be Wang Xian, Jiang Yunpeng, Su Yu and the others." He Qiming, who had dyed a head of white hair beside Mo Shan, suddenly spoke with great certainty. The people he mentioned were all in the round of 16 from the previous season, and they were all narrowly defeated by their opponents. Their combat power was the highest among all the veteran picks on the field, all exceeding 1,500. Even if the new players of this season are very confident in their abilities, there is no need to choose to compete with these strong players in the first round. Wow! As soon as He Qiming finished speaking, the scene was filled with shouts of surprise. Because Li Xing posted his own brand under Wang Xian's brand. Wang Xian, ranked 12th in the previous season, lost to the previous season's champion Liang Feiyu when he made it to 8 out of 16. Many people think that Wang Xian was unlucky, otherwise he would have had a chance to debut directly in the previous season. Wang Xian, who has returned this season, has seen an improvement in his combat power compared to before. The data displayed on the records is 1628.25, ranking 3rd among all the players. So when it comes to the opponents that the contestants least want to encounter this season, Wang Xian is definitely among the top. "Huh, you've been slapped in the face." Mo Shan looked at He Qiming and sneered. The relationship between the two was very good, and He Qiming naturally wouldn't mind. He looked at Li Xing below and shook his head, saying, "Are young people so fierce now?" Li Xing's combat power is only over 800, and Wang Xian is almost twice as strong as him, which is why He Qiming sighed. Although the combat power value is only a reference data and cannot represent absolute strength, and martial arts competitions are not simply based on data, it is rare for battles with such a large difference in paper data to occur. "Wow, you truly deserve to be from Jingwu." Jiang Meiqi turned her head and smiled at Lu Yunqing, quietly flattering her. Lu Yunqing's beautiful eyes flickered, but she was somewhat worried about this elementary school brother. "I hope he's not impulsive," she said at this moment. The host deliberately kept Li Xing and asked, "Li Xing, can you tell me why you chose Wang Xian?" Li Xing looked up at the camera and revealed a smile that would make 99% of women intoxicated. "Because I think this opponent is just right." Oh. As soon as these words were spoken, there was an immediate commotion on the scene, and the camera quickly caught Wang Xian sitting in the left half of the area. Wang Xian remained calm and sneered. "Do you have confidence in defeating Wang Xian?" The host continued to stir up trouble and asked Li Xing beside him. Li Xing said calmly, "Of course." "Wow. The scene was once again filled with shouts of surprise. Go find his information and show it to me again. At this moment, in the broadcasting room opposite the host, Lu Na, the chief director of the creation camp, said to the staff beside her. Lu Na was dressed in black professional attire, with her slender legs wrapped in sexy black silk. Her hair was curled up high, like a ripe red apple, exceptionally tempting. She has read all the information about the 100 contestants this season. The reason why she chose to give Li Xing a spot instead of giving it to several other students who are also from Jingwu and have higher martial arts cultivation was because Li Xing's appearance moved her. A talent show always needs a few beautiful vases to impress the audience, and in Lu Na's opinion, Li Xing is meant to act as a vase, but unexpectedly, the other party dares to choose Wang Xian as their opponent. Did I take a wrong look? Lu Na became interested, and Li Xing's confident attitude just now moved her a bit. She likes confident men. I hope you don't just rely on your mouth. Lu Na looked at Li Xing's handsome face and pursed her red lips, thinking to herself. After Li Xing stepped down, the draw continued. He had just returned to his seat, but before he could sit down, his phone started shaking. Someone sent him a WeChat message. Are you crazy to choose Wang Xian? Li Xing saw that the person who sent the message was his girlfriend Ning Xiaoning. That's right, the original body not only left Li Xing with a beautiful appearance, but also left him with a school flower-level girlfriend. It's quite exciting. Ning Xiaoning was Li Xing's high school classmate. She pursued him crazily from the first day of her first year of high school, and it wasn't until her third year that Li Xing finally married this little rich woman. By Fumei and My Love Story, the two of them got into Jingwu together and became classmates again. Perhaps due to the influence of her family, Ning Xiaoning has been very independent since childhood and has a very clear plan for her future. In her freshman year, she had already figured out how to go for the next 4 years, and also helped Li Xing with the planning. Wuxing Creation Camp was reported by Ning Xiaoning to Li Xing, and the family also found connections to obtain the personal information of all the players of this season in advance, as well as to know the format of the previous rounds in advance. Before joining the camp, Ning Xiaoning also helped Li Xing select 7 or 8 suitable opponents from 100 contestants. According to the pre-agreed tactics between the two, Li Xing should choose one of these 7 or 8 people as his first-round opponent. However, Li Xing did not follow the script, so Ning Xiaoning, who was watching the live broadcast, directly sent a message to WeChat. Li Xing looked at the couple's profile picture on the WeChat interface with some discomfort. After all, before crossing the river, he was a 28-year single and a daily speed expert with over 20,000 yuan. How are you, surprised or not? He used to be someone who almost became a social bully and quickly adapted to it, returning to the past. I'm pleasantly surprised, Li Xing. Are you trying to anger me to death? Ning Xiaoning is extremely ambitious. She has put in a lot of effort for her boyfriend's debut because in her plans, both of them have a very important first step that directly affects their development in the coming years. Now, Li Xing has disrupted all of her plans. Li Xing stopped teasing her and quickly typed, "Don't worry, I'm not messing around. I'm really confident." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Start of Duel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Start of Duel. Where did you get that confidence? Ning Xiaoning is both angry and anxious. Li Xing said, "Anyway, everything has already been chosen and can't be changed. Don't ask so many questions, just wait for the good show." Ning Xiaoning. If it weren't for Li Xing being on live streaming at the moment, she would really want to make a phone call to ask if the other person's mind was lost. When the two were chatting, the selection was still ongoing. Subsequently, some people began to choose veteran players, but no one chose opponents of Wang Xian's level like Li Xing. The strongest ones were kept until the end, so the more players were drawn later, the more pale their faces became. Suddenly, there was another cry of surprise from the audience, as someone had chosen Su Yu. Su Yu, ranked 11th in the previous season with a high combat power value of 1700, is the one with the highest combat power value among all the veteran picks this season. Originally, everyone thought he would be left as the last one, but they didn't expect him to be selected early. The person who chose him was named Han Xing, who was also a handsome guy with long legs and had a similar appearance to Li Xing. However, he followed the path of a creamy young man, while Li Xing was more masculine. Han Xing. 21 years old. I am a junior student at Wuxing University and have over 5 million followers on the Wuxing app. Power value. 1596.26, this is the information displayed on the big screen, and it is also the largest among all newcomers so far. The Wuxing app is the largest short video platform in China related to Wuxing and martial arts, with over 5 million fans on this platform. Its popularity is no less than that of some third-tier Wuxing. As a novice who has not yet officially debuted, Han Xing's achievements are almost at the ceiling level. The camera is for close-up, and the host is ready to ask questions. In the studio, the chief director Lu Na gave instructions, and Han Xing was the most optimistic newcomer of this season. The champion of the previous season, Liang Feiyu, has completely established the reputation of Creation Camp. This season, Lu Na hopes to use Han Xing to continue the program's reputation. If Lu Na can create 2 rookie kings for 2 consecutive seasons, her position in the industry will be further elevated. Han Xing, tell me the reason why you chose Su Yu. The host smiled and handed the microphone to Han Xing's mouth. Han Xing's gaze swept over the mentor's seat on the second floor, revealing a confident smile. Because I enjoy doing challenging things. This Han Xing, I have watched his short video and his swordsmanship is good. At the mentor's seat, by Shuluo, He Qiming suddenly spoke up. Really? Do you think he has a chance to defeat Su Yu? Mo Shan beside him spoke up. He Qiming said, the difference in combat power between these two is not significant. I believe it will be a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. After hearing what you said, I can't wait to see the battle between him and Su Yu. Mo Shan smiled and said. In just a few words, the audience also began to look forward to the showdown between Han Xing and Su Yu. Jiang Meiqi, sitting on the far left, calmly watched the conversation between the two. He Qiming and Mo Shan were both signed martial stars of Ruifeng, one of the 5 giants. She heard that Ruifeng's people had already approached Han Xing before the start of this season. Now it seems that Han Xing may have already signed an agreement with Ruifeng and received his covert support, which is why he has full confidence in challenging Su Yu. Below, Han Xing's interview has ended, and the selection stage has also come to an end, which will soon come to an end. At this point, everyone has determined their opponents for the first round. After the host's oral broadcast, the first round of showdown officially begins. The first showdown, last season's contestant Zhang Tao vs newcomer Huang Yongji, please enter Dream 8467 on the screen to watch. The host's voice fell, and the number 8467 appeared on the large screen behind him. After the nightmare is eliminated, not only will it drop martial arts tokens, but it will also drop dream seeds, which are actually fragments of the dreams generated by the nightmare. Compared to the blank and safe dream generated by the martial arts order, the dream content generated by the dream seed is much richer, not only with various environments, but also virtual creatures, characters, weapons, and even martial arts inheritance. In addition, Dream Seed also has the functions of deep experience and shallow observation, but because there is no nightmare in Dream Seed to absorb energy, the program team needs to continuously consume martial arts tokens to activate and maintain Dream Seed for a long time. At this point, the production team of Creation Camp has presented a Dream Seed as the stage for a showdown, and the audience only needs to access the corresponding dream according to the numerical code. That's also why the program needs to be live streamed, because after entering a dream, it can't be recorded. The audience watching the program took out a martial arts performance token and entered Dream Seed 8467. Both deep experience and shallow observation will not consume the martial arts command. The martial arts command only serves as a key, but because there is no nightmare in the Dream Seed to absorb energy, it will not generate a martial arts command. The entire process is no different from watching live broadcasts on the internet. The only drawback is the inability to fire bullet comments. Li Xing also entered the seed of his dream, and the scene in front of him suddenly changed. Mountain breeze hunting, pine and cypress waves. A mountain plateau protrudes beyond the cliff, and the surrounding peaks are shrouded in clouds and mist, faintly visible. This is Dream Seed 8467, a small world in a complete dream. At this moment, 8 people stood on the mountain platform, namely the 2 contestants who were about to face off, 5 mentors, and 1 host. As for bystanders like Li Xing, their bodies will not appear in the dream, and they can only adjust their own perspectives to observe. The appearance and attire of the 8 people in the dream are similar to those in reality, with the biggest changes being their physique and temperament. Among them, Mo Shan and He Qiming have much larger figures than in reality. After all, they are people with martial arts skills in their dreams. Jiang Meiqi's figure has also changed, and the already spectacular scenery on her chest has become more majestic, making people wonder if she has secretly practiced any strange martial arts. Li Xing is certain that over 90% of men have shifted their field of view to overhead at this time. Although shallow observers in dreams may not be able to communicate through bullet comments, they can adjust their viewing angles themselves, and the beauty of this is self-evident. The figure of Lu Yunqing, a talented woman, has not changed much. Her long legs still catch people's attention, and her temperament is more outstanding than in reality, which has also attracted the attention of many LSPs. The biggest change is undoubtedly the Iron Arm Dragon King, Yan Hailong. In reality, this heavenly king is a chubby man with a fat figure, but in dreams, he is a burly figure, towering like a great master. The more skilled a person is in martial arts, the more they can feel the unfathomable aura from him. 5 mentors, please take your seats. The host first said to the 5 mentors. Behind the 5 people, there are 5 grand tutor chairs prepared by the production team in advance. After the 5 people sit down, the host begins to announce the competition rules. If one party admits defeat, they will be considered negative, if they die, they will be considered negative, and if they fall off a cliff, they will be considered negative. After speaking, he stepped aside and signaled the start of the game. The 2 contestants did not immediately start fighting, but instead walked towards the weapon rack placed at the edge of the mountain and picked up their respective weapons. Zhang Tao uses a sword, while Huang Yongji uses a knife. After bowing to each other, the 2 got into a fight. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. You, come here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. You, come here. Zhang Tao uses the classic sword technique of 13 lightning strikes, while Huang Yongji uses the recently popular light language saber technique. One sword seeks speed, and one sword seeks slowness. One attacking quickly and the other defending steadily are 2 extremes. For a moment, there was constant sword light and shadow. Although their internal strength was not deep enough to create scenes of sword energy crisscrossing and sword shards soaring in the air, their basic skills were both solid, and their understanding of their respective martial arts had reached the level of adapting to the situation. They were not blindly using tricks, so the fight was still quite exciting. Li Xing, who was watching from the sidelines, couldn't take his eyes off it. Such scenes were much more satisfying than watching martial arts dramas and movies. No matter how well the special effects of movies and TV dramas are done, it is impossible to immerse oneself in them, while watching a dream from the sidelines is a comprehensive and 3-dimensional viewing, with vastly different visual effects. After exchanging dozens of moves between the 2, Huang Yongji suddenly changed his move and slashed the sword in Zhang Tao's hand to the ground. Zhang Tao was stunned for a moment, then gave up with a bitter expression on his face. Huang Yongji, victory. The host announces the results and then asks the 5 mentors to give feedback one by one. The last comment was made by the Heavenly King Yan Hailong, who spoke in a gentle tone about the shortcomings of the 2 players in the confrontation just now. He explained them in great detail, which made both players feel somewhat flattered. The other mentors were not surprised by this, as Yan Hailong is a well-known, good teacher, in the industry, who likes to guide and support new people. After the review, the host suddenly spoke up. 5 mentors, if there are people among the eliminated who you think are very unfortunate and should not be eliminated so quickly, then you can exercise a privilege called, Hero, Please Stay. As long as there are more than 2 mentors using, Hero, Please Stay, then this eliminated player can enter the waiting area and continue to retain the hope of promotion. I said it's impossible to eliminate half of the people in the first round, so there's still this skill. Mo Shan shouted at the first moment, then pointed to Zhang Tao on the field and said, I want to use, Hero, Please Stay. I think he didn't perform well this time. Zhang Tao showed a grateful expression on his face and nervously looked at the other 4 mentors. The persona in the program is the Bai Shu Luo, who dresses up as a black face. He Qiming shook his head without hesitation and said, Zhang Tao, your performance today has disappointed me, so I will not exercise privileges for you. Among the remaining 3 mentors, only Jiang Meiqi chose to exercise privileges. Zhang Tao, unfortunately, you were eliminated. The host finally announced. For 2 consecutive seasons, he failed to reach the end, and this time he was eliminated in the first round. Zhang Tao, a big man from the north, couldn't help but shed tears. Maybe I really don't have talent, but when I go back this time, I will consider finding another job. Before leaving, Zhang Tao said with a desolate expression. This statement made many players present feel uneasy. If they cannot succeed in their debut this time, the vast majority of them can only, like Zhang Tao, give up their dreams and honestly find a job. Not everyone can become a martial star. The competition continues. Due to the fact that the first player to be eliminated was an old player, all the old players in the following matches dared not be careless, but there were still a series of skilled players among the newcomers who defeated the old player. The next showdown, Wang Xian vs Li Xing. The host announced loudly. As the words fell, there were 2 more people on the mountain, Wang Xian and Li Xing. I'm looking forward to this group. After seeing the 2, Mo Shan suddenly smiled. It is obvious that he has an impression of Li Xing. I also want to know where Li Xing's confidence can defeat Wang Xian. He Qiming on the side also spoke up, because he had been slapped in the face by Li Xing before, so he had a deep impression of Li Xing. At the same time, Ning Xiaoning, who was watching from a shallow perspective, became nervous. Although Li Xing spoke confidently, she still couldn't believe that Li Xing could defeat Wang Xian. After all, the difference in their combat power was too great. According to my plan, you should be able to make it to the top 30 in the 3rd round. This way, not only can you accumulate a certain amount of popularity, but you can also use this score as a stepping stone to participate in other talent shows. Gradually accumulating popularity and strength, you will have a chance to truly debut before graduating from your senior year. Unfortunately, you have messed up everything. Ning Xiaoning thought with a hint of resentment. The competition is starting. On the stage, the host announced loudly. Wang Xian pulled out a black gold stick from the weapon rack, which was 2 meters long and weighed 67 pounds. With a stick in his hand, his entire aura suddenly changed, and he looked down at Li Xing with disdain. I will make you regret your choice. Li Xing didn't answer and looked at his opponent nervously and excitedly. He has had the experience of competing with others before, but he has never been able to write a book alone, so it is inevitable that he is nervous. Wang Xian noticed Li Xing's nervousness and sneered. Before reaching a high level of martial arts cultivation, having weapons always had an advantage over bare hands. Li Xing majored in martial arts and did not choose weapons, which gave Wang Xian a bit more confidence. Come on! Wang Xian shouted loudly. Li Xing was not in a hurry to take action, and relevant information came to mind again. Wang Xian, 22 years old, is best known for his martial arts skills, which are called Fuhai 36 stick, with a score of 76, making him a first-class martial artist. The advantage of this stick technique is its strong and unparalleled strength, while the disadvantage is, you, come here. He stood still, reached out his right hand and hooked his finger at Wang Xian, using a meme that only he understood in the world. On the one hand, it was to ease his nervousness, and on the other hand, his tactics in this game were just like this. Wang Xian's face flashed with anger, and he picked up the long black gold stick in his hand and rushed forward. Bang! There was a small pit on the rocky ground, but Wang Xian hit it with one stick. Li Xing, who dodged a move, did not counterattack, but instead made a move and walked around behind Wang Xian. Wang Xian swept across with his staff, the strong wind howling, and he used the dragon tail swing perfectly. The long stick swept towards Li Xing's chest with its lingering shadow. Just as everyone thought Li Xing would be hit by this stick, he swayed and dodged in a strange posture. Wang Xian kept moving and continued to change his moves. As soon as he unleashed the 36 staff that covered the sea, it was like waves in the ocean, stacked layer by layer, surging and surging. Obviously, he has already acquired the essence of this stick technique. However, what was unexpected was that Li Xing managed to dodge more than a dozen moves under Wang Xian's stick. Although each time it looked very dangerous, he was like a flat boat on the sea, seemingly about to be submerged by the wind and waves, but always able to reappear unsteadily. Ha! Among the 5 mentors, Mo Shan, who is best at lightness skills and body techniques, frowned. What's wrong? He Qiming beside asked. Mo Shan. It seems that Li Xing is using an extremely sophisticated body technique. Oh. The other mentors all turned their heads to look at Mo Shan upon hearing this. Mo Shan, nicknamed Ghost Chasing Souls, can rank among the top martial stars with his body movements. His vision and knowledge in this area are naturally impressive, and it is rare for him to call his body movements extremely brilliant. What kind of body technique is it? Jiang Meiqi curiously asked. Her impression of those clever body movements did not match the one displayed by Li Xing at this moment. I don't know either, Mo Shan said with a complex expression. Ah. Jiang Meiqi was taken aback for a moment, then widened her eyes and said, Do you mean, this is a new martial arts skill? Mo Shan nodded and said in a deep voice, Very likely. Upon hearing this, the other mentors immediately became interested. It is common to have new martial arts skills in talent shows, but it is rare to have a sophisticated new martial arts skill. On the field, Wang Xian, who had been unable to attack for a long time, suddenly let out a roar, his arms muscles bulging high, and his whole body muscles and bones crackling. His body suddenly expanded in a circle, like the arrival of a giant spirit god, waving his black gold long stick out of the Taoist afterimage in his hand. Fuhai Bian, I didn't expect Wang Xian to practice the Fuhai staff technique to this level. Yan Hailong, who sat in the middle, habitually commented. After reaching the 6th level, the 36 staff of Fuhai can use a unique skill called Fuhai transformation to stimulate the acupoints with internal energy, causing qi and blood to surge, and greatly increasing qi in a short period of time. If he had the current strength in the previous season, he would definitely have made it to the top 10. Mo Shan continued, It seems that Li Xing is more unlucky than unlucky. Not necessarily. Yan Hailong shook his head. Do seniors think Li Xing has a chance of winning? Mo Shan turned his head to look at Yan Hailong and asked politely. Yan Hailong smiled and said, The old players do have an advantage over the new players in terms of momentum, but they also have a disadvantage, which is intelligence. All the information about the new players is unknown, but what the old players are good at can be found. If you prepare in advance, you may not be able to beat the weak to the strong. Yeah, Li Xing deliberately chose Wang Xian, maybe he came prepared. Mo Shan made a sudden realization and looked at Yan Hailong. Jiang is still old and spicy. Haha. Yan Hailong smiled with a reserved expression, looking at the field with some anticipation. However, Li Xing's subsequent performance did not make him feel embarrassed. Wang Xinwei, who had performed the sea-covering transformation, suddenly fell into a mess. The iron rod weighing dozens of pounds in his hand was like a straw, dancing into a windmill, and small pits were constantly dug on the ground. With debris flying in the air. Faced with such an attack, Li Xing slid like a loach, always able to dodge all attacks perfectly. His body shape changed not only quickly but also unexpectedly. Li Xing. Do you only know how to hide? After attacking nearly 100 moves in a row, Wang Xian didn't even touch the corner of Li Xing's clothes. He was so angry that his eyes were filled with smoke and he shouted at Li Xing. Li Xing took the opportunity to distance himself, but without further ado, he extended his right hand again and hooked Wang Xian with his finger. You, come here. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Self-created martial arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Self-created martial arts. Seeing the gesture and expression of Li Xing hooking her fingers, Lu Yunqing couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. The other mentors couldn't help but laugh and found it very interesting. This posture is so cheap. But he looks so handsome. When did he become so powerful? Ning Xiaoning, who was watching from a shallow perspective, had constantly changing thoughts and emotions. She couldn't believe that the person on the stage was actually her boyfriend. I really want to know who created this body technique. It's so talented. It's not just about avoiding, but intentionally guiding and confusing opponents with body techniques. Mo Shan couldn't help but comment. He is a master of lightness skills, and everyone thinks that Li Xing's body technique is really impressive. It seems that the winner has already been decided. Yan Hailong suddenly became very certain of the authenticity. Although the Fuhai Bian is powerful, it is not too long. When the effect of qi and blood surging fades, Wang Xian will fall into a period of weakness. At that time, even people with lower martial arts skills can easily defeat him. As soon as Yan Hailong finished speaking, Wang Xian on the field paused noticeably, stopped attacking, and stood still gasping heavily. But Li Xing did not immediately step forward to launch a counterattack, but patiently waited. The weak period of Fuhai Bian cannot be passed with just a few breaths, so he is not in a hurry to counterattack. What if the other party is pretending? After all, he used to be an online author and is very familiar with this routine, so he must be cautious. Wang Xian, standing in place panting, couldn't help but feel a hint of despair in his eyes when he saw that Li Xing had not attacked. In the end, he let out a furious roar and attacked again. Sure enough, it's a fake. Li Xing thought proudly as he dodged. Next, he dodged dozens of moves until he was sure that Wang Xian was really weak, and then calmly launched a counterattack, easily knocking down Wang Xian who had completely fallen into a weak state. Li Xing, victory. The host announced the result loudly. Pop 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 pop. As soon as the host finished speaking, several mentors began to applaud for Li Xing. The example of defeating 1600 with a combat power of over 800 is worthy of their applause. Yan Hailong had a satisfied expression on his face, as Li Xing's behavior perfectly matched his prediction and demonstrated his vision. Li Xing, is the body technique you just used a new martial arts skill? Mo Shan couldn't wait to ask. Li Xing nodded and said, yes. Who created the new martial arts? Lu Yunqing immediately asked the question. Li Xing said slightly embarrassed, it's me. Wow. Jiang Meiqi covered her mouth in surprise, Lu Yunqing's eyes lit up, and Mo Shan stood up directly. Did you create it? It's not mentioned in the information that you can create martial arts. Mo Shan asked in confusion. Not everyone can create martial arts, which requires special talents. The vast majority of people, even if they have learned all the theoretical knowledge about martial arts, and even if their derived martial arts fully conform to the logic of dream law, if dream law does not recognize this martial arts, then it is impossible to materialize it. Under the premise of conforming to the logic of laws, one can still receive recognition of laws in order to create martial arts in dreams, which requires special talents. Only one person out of 10,000 may possess such talents. People who can obtain recognition of the dream law and create martial arts skills will add a teacher character after their surname to show respect for such individuals. For those who have created unparalleled martial arts, they will be called masters. The ability to create martial arts is undoubtedly a bonus, and players with this ability will mention it during registration. When appearing, the production team will also display this ability in their personal profile, but Li Xing's personal profile did not mention that he can create martial arts, so Mo Shan asked. I only recently awakened my ability to create martial arts and gained recognition for the dream rule, so it is not mentioned in my personal profile. Li Xing explained. This is indeed true. Before his time traveling, his original body did not have the talent to create martial arts. Can you show us your martial arts information? Yan Hailong suddenly spoke up. Li Xing nodded and said, sure. After speaking, a few lines of glowing fonts appeared above his head out of thin air. Internal skill. Mingfeng skill, 76 points. Third level, 85%. Power value. 292.6 lightness skill. Ruying step, 52 points. Third level, 28%. Xinxing versatile, 73 points, self-created. First level, 93%. Power value. 288.2 fist and foot. Baichuan Quan, 58 points. Fourth level, 79%. Power value. 277.82 weapon. None hidden weapon. None other. None comprehensive combat power value. 858.62 These fonts display Li Xing's martial arts information in his dream. This is also a major feature of the dream rule, where all martial arts information will be displayed in a data-driven manner. The dream rule divides martial arts into 6 categories. Internal skills, lightness skills, fists and feet, weapons, hidden weapons, and others. The martial arts data consists of 2 parts, one is the martial arts score, and the other is the martial arts realm. The lowest martial arts score is 1 point, and the highest is 100 plus. The lowest level of martial arts is 1% in the first level, and the highest level is 99% in the 9th level. In fact, the highest level of martial arts is not only the 9th level, but no matter what kind of martial arts are created, they will be divided into 1 to 9 levels, which is the original upper limit of a martial arts. In addition to the martial arts score and martial arts realm, there is also an important data displayed in the dream rule. Combat power value. The calculation method is based on the martial arts score x the martial arts realm. For example, if a boxing score is 10 points and the realm is 10% of the first weight, then the corresponding combat power value is 10 times 1.1, which is 11. But for each major category of martial arts, only the highest level of martial arts is calculated, while lower-level martial arts will be calculated by multiplying the score by a certain coefficient and then accumulating. The higher the score, the greater the coefficient, but the maximum will not exceed 1, and this coefficient will continue to decrease as the number of similar martial arts increases. This calculation method makes it impossible for people to intentionally increase their combat power by practicing more martial arts. Practicing 10 martial arts to the first level is not as good as achieving higher combat power by practicing 1 martial arts to the 3rd level. Li Xing's current total combat power value is 858.62, which is a good level among amateur players, but not considered outstanding. Among the contestants who came to participate in the second season of Wuxing Creation Camp, they can only rank in the middle and upper ranks. Of course, combat power is just a measure of strength, and the outcome of a martial arts competition cannot be solely based on data. On-the-spot performance, mentality, application of martial arts, and the relationship between martial arts restraint will all affect the final result. For example, the result of the martial arts competition between Xing and Wang Xin is a good example. God's actions are ever changing. The first level. 73 points. After Xing displayed his martial arts information, Mo Shan immediately let out a cry of surprise. Ruingbu has been a well-known footwork for many years, and Mo Shan is very familiar with it. He is also very certain that Xing did not use Ruingbu just now, so there is only one he has never heard of, which is the God's way of versatility. The Dream Rule has certified that this set of martial arts was created by Xing himself, but what surprised Mo Shan was that Xing only practiced this set of martial arts to the first level. Is it just the first level that has such a good effect? Is the first level score 73 points? These questions not only appear in Mo Shan's heart, but also in the hearts of other mentors and all netizens who are watching superficially. Where have you reached in creating your martial arts skills so far? Lu Yunqing, who spoke the least among several mentors, took the initiative to ask. The creation of martial arts is usually not achieved overnight. Many times, creators can only create a beginning at the beginning, and then gradually complete it later. Of course, there are also many martial arts skills that are just unique, and those who practice these skills can only consider themselves unlucky. Currently, only the first batch has been created. Xing replied. Last night, he was conducting a test in his dream, recalling the names and characteristics of the martial arts he remembered one by one. Then, he found that this memory was different from before. When he recalled certain martial arts, his martial arts practice order would react, as if it would be consumed the next second. I guessed it right. With excitement in his heart, Xing began to consider which martial arts to choose for manifestation, and ultimately chose divine and versatile. He is temporarily unable to manifest his more powerful martial arts skills, probably due to the insufficient number of martial arts practice orders in his hand. After all, others rely on theoretical knowledge and martial arts cultivation to create martial arts, while his creation of martial arts is fabricated out of thin air, so he needs to consume additional martial arts practice orders to make up for it. Among the martial arts that can be manifested, the versatile nature of divine actions is undoubtedly the most cost-effective. This martial arts skill is Wei Xiaobao's life-saving masterpiece in The Deer in the Cauldron, known as the #1 lightness skill in the world. It's easy to get started, and even without internal power, Wei Xiaobao can use it. However, with his mediocre martial arts skills, he can repeatedly escape from the hands of top experts with his very divine movements, demonstrating the effectiveness of this set of martial arts. Xing chose Xing's versatile approach because he saw its excellent effect of being easy to learn and at a low level. The 36 martial arts exercise orders in his hand can only manifest as the first level of divine and versatile movements, which is almost the level that Wei Xiaobao has cultivated. It is naturally impossible to defeat the experts, but if used well, it can also produce miraculous effects. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Team Leader Selection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Team Leader Selection. I only created the first level of Realm, but my score is actually 73 points. This martial arts skill is really not easy. Lu Yunqing sighed and said. Generally speaking, if a martial arts skill is not fully created, the score given by the Dream Rule will not be too high. A martial arts skill that originally had a score of 80 points may only have a score of 4.50 points if only the first level martial arts skill was created at the beginning. As a result, Xing's creation of the Divine Xing's ever-changing first level martial arts realm now has 73 points. Although there are many martial arts techniques that can be used with high skill levels and low skill levels, some martial arts may have high scores when first creating the first level, but their scores may actually decrease significantly after creating the complete technique. But no matter what, a good beginning is still important, at least proving that Li Xing has a certain talent in martial arts creation. You chose Wang Xian as your opponent because you were interested in his fierce but slow-changing gameplay, right? Yan Hailong asked with a smile. Li Xing nodded and said, yes. Although Wang Xian's 36 staff for covering the sea is fierce, his speed is not as fast as those who use fast swords and swords. In addition, Wang Xian himself is not good at lightness skills and body techniques, so Li Xing chose him as his opponent. If Li Xing were to compete with an opponent who is not as skilled in martial arts as Wang Xian, but has better body skills and faster shooting speed, he may not necessarily win. It can be said that using the versatile divine actions to deal with Wang Xian is just right. Shameless. Standing beside Li Xing, Wang Xian, who had been blackened all along, cursed inwardly, feeling that he had lost too much. Li Xing, I just saw that when you use this set of body techniques, besides the clever changes, you also have characteristics in linear acceleration. Do you want to balance dodge and movement when creating this set of martial arts? Yan Hailong continued to ask. You truly deserve to be the heavenly king. Li Xing praised in his heart. Xinxing Baibian is actually a set of lightness skills that combines the characteristics of Xinxing and Baibian. Whether it is movement speed or evasion ability, it can be considered a masterpiece. Just to achieve the effect of divine action, deep internal strength is needed to support it, so Li Xing only showed the characteristic of versatility in the duel just now, but unexpectedly Yan Hailong still saw some clues from it. That's right, I did want to balance movement speed and evasion when creating. Li Xing spoke up. Xinxing, ever-changing, hey, how could I not have thought of it? Mo Shan patted his thigh and then turned to Yan Hailong, saying, Dragon King, you have rich experience. Yan Hailong's smile became even more reserved, and there was an undisguised appreciation in his gaze towards Li Xing. Not to mention anything else, this kid has made him shine in front of others several times since he started playing. The more players he has, the better. The younger generation is terrifying. If you can complete this set of lightness skills in the future, it will at least be a top-notch martial arts skill. Maybe there is a chance to challenge the peerless world. The young man continues to work hard and has the potential to become a master. Since Li Xing cooperated so well, Yan Hailong didn't mind giving back to Li and gave a very high evaluation. Wow! As soon as these words were spoken, the mentors present all showed a surprised expression, and the shallow bystanders and netizens were also shocked. Every 30 points in martial arts score is a hurdle. A score of 1.30 is for ordinary martial arts. A score of 31.60 is excellent martial arts. A score of 61.90 is first-class martial arts. A score of 91.100 is the highest level of martial arts. When the score exceeds 100 points, the dream rule will no longer display the specific score, which is generally expressed as 100+. This type of martial arts is considered peerless. The most important aspect of a martial arts skill is not only its score, but also its download volume on the Martial Soul platform. The Dream Rule evaluates martial arts by taking into account all the martial arts that humans have created before giving a score. However, this score can only roughly evaluate the actual effect of practicing a martial arts skill, and cannot determine factors such as the difficulty of entering the martial arts, cultivation difficulty, applicability, and safety factor. Both are peerless martial arts with a score of 100+. Only one person in the world can successfully enter one skill, while the other can allow 10,000 people to successfully enter. Compared to the other, the latter naturally has greater significance for humanity and can promote the development of the martial arts circle. So to judge whether a martial arts skill is good or not, one should not only look at the martial arts score given by the dream rule, but also consider its download volume. When the download volume of 3 unparalleled martial arts with a rating of 100+ can exceed 100 million, the person who created this martial arts is qualified to be called a master. The difficulty is so great that many creative talents never achieve this achievement in their lifetime. Now Yan Hailong actually says that Li Xing has the potential to become a master. The creation of martial arts in dreams is different from the description in martial arts novels. Generally speaking, the higher the level of martial arts, the more likely it is for people to create profound martial arts. However, there is a state called enlightenment in dreams. When entering this state, even if your martial arts cultivation is very low, there is a certain chance of creating unparalleled martial arts. So there are some masters in this world who, despite their low cultivation, can create unparalleled martial arts skills. Yan Hailong said that Li Xing had a chance, but he thought that if Li Xing could continue to comprehend the Tao a few more times and continue to complete the divine transformation, he might be able to create a set of unparalleled martial arts with a score of 100+. But the enlightenment in dreams is hard to come by. Some people may only have a few opportunities in their lifetime, while others may encounter many times in a year. Such things are unpredictable. However, the higher the talent and the more solid the theoretical knowledge, the greater the probability that Li Xing will create profound martial arts after entering the enlightenment stage. Even if it is only the first level, it at least indicates that his talent and theoretical knowledge are very good. Coupled with Yan Hailong's high praise, he immediately became the most beautiful young man in the room. You may not have noticed anything. Yan Hailong was surprised by his evaluation, so he continued with a smile. Li Xing only practiced one Mingfeng skill and only reached the 3rd level. The first 4 levels of Mingfeng were mainly focused on laying a foundation, not on internal strength, so his internal strength could only be considered average. However, he was able to use this kind of internal strength to unleash the variety of divine elements to that extent, which indicates that the demand for internal strength in the entry-level stage of divine elements is very low. In dreams with internal power settings, almost all advanced martial arts require sufficient internal power to activate in order to be effective. The saying, without internal power support, even the most powerful martial arts are just superficial, can be considered a golden and jade saying, but unfortunately, martial arts are easy to learn and difficult to practice. For the vast majority of ordinary people with average talents, advanced internal power is unattainable, so those martial arts that can be effective without requiring too deep internal power are particularly precious. How effective is the versatile nature of the divine journey? Li Xing has already proven it through practical actions just now. Now, with Yan Hailong's reminder, everyone has realized that Li Xing did not use much internal power at all. This immediately increased the value of the versatile nature of the divine journey by more than one level. This heavenly king is simply a perfect comedian. Li Xing looked at Yan Hailong and had such thoughts in his heart, and his liking for him continued to increase. Little did they know that Yan Hailong was also thinking the same way at this moment, and the two of them could be described as empathetic. From this perspective, even if this set of lightness skills is only one level, it is very valuable. Li Xing, hurry up and release this set of lightness skills. I can't wait to download it and study it thoroughly. Mo Shan said to Li Xing half jokingly and half seriously. I will do it as soon as possible. Li Xing also responded with a smile. The following mentors all gave Li Xing high praise, making him the athlete who has received the most praise so far. Finally, in the exercise of privileges, the host asked several mentors if they wanted to give Wang Xian the opportunity to stay hero. In the end, all 5 mentors gave the advice of heroes, please stay. Wang Xian also smoothly entered the waiting area, which slightly improved his complexion. Before leaving, he even gave Li Xing a fierce glance, and the meaning in his eyes was very clear. I made a note of it this time. Li Xing just chuckled and didn't care about it. The two of them withdrew from the deep experience and resumed shallow observation, and the game continued. The next game was still exciting, but there was no more stunning new martial arts like divine and versatile, until Han Xing and Su Yu finally came on stage to once again bring the atmosphere of the game to a climax. Both of them are skilled in knife techniques. Su Yu used a popular fast attack style knife technique in recent years, with a martial arts score of 72, while Han Xing used a new knife technique that had never appeared before. Han Xing is one step behind Su Yu in all aspects, but his sword technique is very restrained against the opponent. Just as Li Xing deliberately chose Wang Xian, Han Xing also came prepared this time. The restraint in his sword technique gradually gave him the upper hand, and in the end, he narrowly defeated his opponent with one move. Although the new knife technique was not created by Han Xing, the five mentors still praised him, and Mo Shan and He Qiming gave him high praise. However, Yan Hailong's attitude was clearly not as appreciated as before when it came to Li Xingshi. This heavenly king is well aware that Han Xing has the support of Ruifeng Company behind him, so the truly powerful one is actually the master who created targeted knife techniques, not Han Xing himself. Ruifeng is still as bold as ever, and in the first round of the game, they customized a decent new knife technique for Han Xing. It seems that they are determined to win this championship. Jiang Meiqi, who knew some insider information, thought with jealousy that she didn't have such good resources when she first debuted. In the end, the five mentors also gave Su Yu the opportunity to stay as a hero, allowing him to enter the undetermined area. At this point, the first round of the showdown has come to an end, and 50 advanced players have been born, while there are still 14 players in the waiting area. According to the rules, 4 out of the 14 players in the waiting area will be eliminated, and only 10 will eventually advance to the next round. After a brutal showdown with full program effects, the 10 candidates who ultimately advanced were also determined, including Wang Xian and Su Yu, who were unexpectedly eliminated. The next round of competition is a group assessment, so 5 mentors need to first select 6 of the 60 advanced players you think are the most outstanding as the captain of the next round of group assessment. The host said so. Is it our direct choice? Jiang Meiqi pretended to be surprised and asked. Host. That's right, each of you can mention some names, and finally, the 5 of you will discuss and jointly select the 16 captains for the next round. The rules for this season are a bit interesting. I already have a few candidates in mind. Mo Shan smiled and said. Well, I also have a few candidates in my mind, He Qiming followed suit. Jiang Meiqi sneered in her heart, because this segment was actually a means for the martial arts company behind the program to add scenes to her own contestants. Wuxing Company is similar to an entertainment company, but the difference is that all Wuxing companies are equivalent to state-owned enterprises. Because Wuxing is a strategic resource, its importance far exceeds that of celebrities in the entertainment industry, so the country has absolute control over all Wuxing companies. In this way, although they are both celebrities and have various talent shows and variety shows, the martial arts industry is far from being as chaotic as the entertainment industry, without as many hidden rules and capital influences. After all, in the end, Wuxing is going to enter the nightmare realm to break his dreams. If his strength is not enough and he still needs to persevere, it will be purely seeking death, and the consequences will be very serious. But even if they are both state-owned enterprises, there is still competition among them. There are a total of 3 Wuxing companies behind the talent show, Wuxing Creation Camp, all of which have their own promising contestants in advance. Mo Shan and He Qiming are both members of Ruifeng Company, so they naturally try to choose the players that Ruifeng Company has already planned to sign as team captains. As for Jiang Meiqi and Yan Hailong, of course, each has their own position. The only one among the 5 who has not yet signed a contract with the company is Lu Yunqing, but this talented woman who has never been involved in Jianghu affairs is likely not to deliberately oppose anyone in this aspect. Then let's each write a few names on paper and finally combine them to confirm. Yan Hailong proposed. The other four had no objections, so the five began writing their names on paper. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Grouping. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Grouping. This is my list. This is mine. This is. At this point, the five mentors had already withdrawn from Dream Seat 8467 and were chatting in the broadcasting hall. After about 5 minutes of consideration, they wrote down their approved names on paper and then began to determine the final candidate. At this point, all five of them were turned off, and the audience and contestants could see them talking, but they couldn't hear what they were saying. Wang Xian, Su Yu, Han Xing, Zhang Qiuyan. The first thing people looked at was the list of Mo Shan and He Qiming. The names on the two lists were exactly the same. Except that Wang Xian and Su Yu were not from Ruifeng, the other four players were all the players who had signed agreements with Ruifeng in advance this season. This eating style is too ugly, right? At least I tried to cover it up and only wrote 2, my own people, and 1 of your sharp-edged people. After seeing the list of the two, Jiang Meiqi secretly harbored resentment in her heart. Yan Hailong's list is similar to hers, with 2 own people written. Among the remaining 4 people, there are also Wang Xian and Su Yu, as well as 2 sharp-edged individuals. It's not that he deliberately tried to please Ruifeng, but rather that the newcomers that Ruifeng has been interested in this season are indeed excellent. As the saying goes, the martial arts circle may still be unable to avoid some insider information and hidden rules, but forging iron requires one's own hard work, and one's own qualifications are not good, even if the relationship is endless. Wuxing Company can have some private operations, but the premise is that the people they choose are indeed beneficial talents for the country. The last person everyone looked at was Lu Yunqing's list, with the first 2 being Wang Xian and Su Yu, and the last 3 being players who had signed agreements with 3 companies. This choice can be said to offend no one. The only surprise to the 4 mentors was that the last name on Lu Yunqing's list was actually Li Xing. Although Li Xing's, divine and versatile, is stunning, it is only a set of lightness skills with only 1 level, and his combat power is still too low compared to other top players. Moreover, each mentor has their own quota, so Yan Hailong and the 4 others did not consider choosing him as the captain. It seems that Wang Xian and Su Yu are recognized by everyone, so let's settle them down first. Yan Hailong was the first to speak up. Sure. Okay. Listen to Brother Yan. The other 4 people have no objections. Although both Wang Xian and Su Yu did not sign an agreement with any company in advance due to their own reasons, their strength was there, and they could be ranked in the top 6 among all the players no matter how they were calculated. If they insist on not choosing them as team captains in order to promote their own people, it would be easier to recruit their own players. As for the remaining 4 spots, what do you think? Yan Hailong asked. The 4 of them fell silent for a moment, and Jiang Meiqi looked at Lu Yunqing with a smile and said, I think it's better to follow Yunqing's list. Each of the 3 major companies has 1 quota, and no one has to say anything. They can also sell Lu Yunqing, a talented woman, as a favor. Jiang Meiqi thinks her choice is very clever. He Qiming and Mo Shan exchanged a glance and suddenly spoke up, Yunqing's candidate is indeed good, but I think Li Xing should reconsider in the end. Yes, this Li Xing is indeed talented, but his strength is still a bit lacking. Choosing him as the team leader may be difficult to convince others, right? After hesitating for a moment, Mo Shan also spoke in agreement. Li Xing's ability to win over Wang Xian was mainly due to his advantage in martial arts restraint. If the 2 of them were to fight again, Li Xing might not be able to win, so Mo Shan said this without any problem. Upon hearing this, Lu Yunqing pursed her lips and sighed slightly in her heart. She wanted to help Li Xing because he was her younger brother and had creative talent, but now the 2 mentors are against it, and she doesn't want to force herself. After all, what the other person said is also reasonable. Just as Lu Yunqing was about to give up, Yan Hailong suddenly spoke. I think this Li Xing has great potential, and the upcoming competition also requires creative talent. Maybe this little guy can continue to bring us surprises. Besides, even Wang Xin, who was defeated by him, can become the captain. So, as the winner, being the captain is not something that cannot be outdone, right? In the end, Yan Hailong decided to help the young man who had made himself a saint in front of others several times. Perhaps the other person could still bring him surprises in the future. As soon as these words were spoken, Mo Shan and He Qiming exchanged a glance at each other and then changed their words together. Okay, then follow Yinqing's list. A talented woman who has the opportunity to become a master in the future, coupled with a heavenly king, carries enough weight to make them compromise. So the list of 6 people was determined, and the host began to read out the list. The contestants selected by the 5 mentors as the next team captain are Wang Xin, Su Yu, Han Xing, and Li Xing. When the host read Li Xing's name, there was a commotion on the scene, and many people were surprised. What is the situation? Li Xing was also surprised and looked at the mentor's seat on the second floor. Although the martial arts circle in this world is much cleaner than the entertainment circle, there is no fish in the clear water, and there must be some tricks. His girlfriend can rely on family connections to help him obtain the player information for this season and the competition rules for the previous rounds in advance. Players who were favored by Wuxing Company in advance will definitely receive greater help, such as the current captain candidate, which should have been divided up long ago. So he was curious why he was chosen as the captain. Was it because his girlfriend secretly found a relationship? Next, please invite the 6 captains to come on stage. We need to enter the group stage. Before Li Xing could ask Ning Xiaoning on WeChat, the host asked them to come up. After the 6 people stepped onto the stage and settled down, the host held a microphone and began introducing the rules. The next round of assessment will be conducted by one of the 5 mentors as the examiner, and the 60 contestants present will be divided into 6 groups to participate in the assessment. The final ranking will be based on the scores of each group. The first ranked group will not have anyone eliminated, while the second ranked group will have 1 person eliminated, the third ranked group will have 2 people eliminated, and so on. The number of people in each group is 10. Next, I will sort them based on the time they won in the previous showdown. The shorter the time, the higher the ranking. I will ask the remaining 54 players for their opinions and ask whose team you want to join. After you make a choice, the chosen captain also needs to make a choice. Do you agree to join the team? If agreed, the player will successfully join the team. If refused, the player will need to wait for the next round of questioning. After the host introduced the rules, the vast majority of the players present began to get nervous because this grouping rule was too easy to cause embarrassment. The captain will think, what if there is no candidate for me? And the contestants will think, what if the captain I choose doesn't want me? In short, it will be very awkward. However, the audience clearly loves watching this kind of drama, and the barrage on online live streaming platforms instantly increases. Many viewers who originally wanted to leave after watching all the matches also choose to stay and continue watching. Wu Yufan, who do you want to choose as your captain? The host begins to call the roll in order. I think. So, a famous athlete made his own choice. Some people were accepted and stood up directly behind the captain, while others were rejected and had to awkwardly sit down again. As the first round of questioning approached its end, almost everyone's gaze turned to Li Xing. There was pity, sympathy, and schadenfreude in everyone's eyes. Because so far no contestant has said they want to choose Li Xing as the captain, there is no one behind him and he can only stand alone on the field. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Grace of Saving Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Grace of Saving Life. Although Li Xing received the highest praise in the first round of the showdown and even created a stunning new martial arts skill called Divine and Versatile, his paper strength is still not strong enough. The contestants are not foolish. It can be seen that Li Xing was able to defeat Wang Xian mainly because he made targeted preparations in advance. However, Shen Xing's versatility is useful against players of Wang Xian's type, which does not mean it is also useful against others. Even if Wang Xian and Li Xing play again now, the outcome is unknown. As for Li Xing's creative talent, although he has been recognized by 5 mentors, and even highly praised by the heavenly king Yan Hailong, no one can say for sure about his enlightenment. Many people have been praised by Yan Hailong as having the opportunity to create unparalleled martial arts, but in the end, how many people can truly achieve it? It's like someone watching your child score high in this exam and casually saying, "Young man has a bright future, he will definitely be able to attend Tsinghua and Peking University in the future." Just listen to these words. Who knows how many more times Li Xing can come to enlightenment. If it were not for his enlightenment, it would be impossible for him to create such profound martial arts solely based on his current level of martial arts. The paper strength is not strong enough, and the creative talent is unstable, which is why there has been no candidate for Li Xing. Perhaps I shouldn't have included him in the list. At this moment, Lu Yunqing on the mentor's seat looked at Li Xing standing alone below, and suddenly regretted it. If there is no candidate for Li Xing until the end, so that there are only 9 players who are not wanted and are forced to join his team, then Li Xing, the captain, will become a joke instead. At first, she didn't actually think too much. She just wanted to help this junior student casually, but now there seems to be a trend of helping him. On the contrary, it was Li Xing. Lu Yunqing noticed that he didn't seem nervous at all, and his good mentality surprised her. This Li Xing has a very good mindset. Jiang Meiqi beside Lu Yunqing also noticed Li Xing's expression and said softly, "It's really good." Yan Hailong also agreed and said with a smile, "When I first debuted, I didn't have his composure. It seems that Senior Yan, you really appreciate him." Lu Yunqing turned her head to look at Yan Hailong, and the other 3 mentors also looked at him. Yan Hailong said calmly, "Talent is one aspect, and one thing I admire about him is that he dares to choose Wang Xian as his opponent in the first round. Even if it's because of his martial arts skills, he has a similar style of play to Wang Xian, but his strength is not as good as Wang Xian's veteran players. He still chose Wang Xian as his strongest opponent, and this courage and gamble are actually rare. Now he has one more thing that I appreciate, which is his mentality, which is actually even more rare than the previous 2 points. If you appreciate it so much, Senior, do you want to sign him?" Jiang Meiqi asked half-jokingly. Although Yan Hailong is a contracted martial star of Shenzhen Company, one of the 5 giants, as a superstar in the Heavenly Kingdom, he has his own studio, so if he is interested in anyone, he really has the right to sign directly. Let's see his performance later on." Yan Hailong smiled and said without giving a definite answer. Upon hearing this, Jiang Meiqi stopped asking further, but her gaze towards Li Xing changed slightly. Yan Hailong was known for his love of supporting younger generations, and if Li Xing were truly favored by him, not to mention ascending to the sky, at least the starting point would not be much worse than the final champion of this program. Li Xing didn't know that his performance had once again been appreciated by Yan Hailong. He was so calm at this moment not because of his composure, but because he had full confidence and was not afraid at all. The ever-changing nature of Xing is just a beginning. If all the martial arts in his mind can be fully realized, not to mention the champion of a talent show, isn't the Heavenly King also in his bag? This is Li Xing's mentality, so he really doesn't care whether he will be chosen or not. After successfully verifying last night, he didn't think about relying on his teammates in this draft. Teammate or something, just lie down and be good. I want to choose Li Xing. Just as Li Xing was bored to the point of starting to daydream, a voice brought him back to his senses. At this moment, the speaker was a boy wearing glasses and with a somewhat delicate appearance. "You said you want to choose Li Xing as your captain, right?" the host asked again. The boy nodded and smiled at Li Xing, saying, "I don't know if that's possible." "Li Xing, are you willing to let Qin Yoxing become your teammate?" The host followed the rules and turned to ask Li Xing. Li Xing was stunned. He could feel a clear goodwill from the other person's smile, but he didn't know where this goodwill came from. I am willing. Without much thought, Li Xing nodded directly. Although he never thought about relying on his teammates, it's better to have someone willing to support him than not. Why did you choose me? When Chen Yoxing walked up to him, Li Xing asked in a low voice. Chen Yoxing replied, I'm also from Jingwu, a swordsmanship school. I'm in my sophomore year, don't you remember? Oh. Li Xing remembered that not only was he selected as the student of Jingwu this time, but there were also 2 other contestants from Jingwu among the 100. However, one of them was eliminated in the first round, and Chen Yoxing advanced. Chen Yoxing's combat power value is over 900, which is even higher than Captain Li Xing. Just because we are alumni, do you choose me? Are you not afraid of being tricked? Li Xing asked with great interest. Chen Yoxing smiled and said naturally, they are all from the same school, so it's not like we're just going to die without help. Upon hearing these words, Li Xing's heart warmed. Of course, his situation is not to the point of death, but Chen Yoxing's intention is also very clear. He was chosen purely to avoid making him the captain too embarrassed. So it's still relatively simple during my student days. Li Xing sighed in his heart and then jokingly said to Chen Yoxing. If you save my life today, I will repay you a few more lives if there is a chance in the future. Ah. Chen Yoxing didn't quite understand what Li Xing was saying. It's nothing, thank you anyway, Senior Chen. Huh, it's nothing, let's work together in the future. After the first round of roll call, there were still 11 players on the field who had not joined the team. They were all rejected in the first round, and their situation was already quite awkward. The second round of roll call will start soon. I choose Li Xing. I choose Li Xing. This time, there is actually no more room for choice. There are only 2 teams on the field that have not yet filled their spots, while Li Xing's team still has 8 spots, making it almost impossible to reject people. Therefore, choosing him is the safest option. No one wants to be rejected again. So, all the first 8 people chose to join Li Xing's team, and the remaining 3 people automatically joined the other team. At this point, all groups have been completed. Next, let's invite the next round of examiners to announce the exam questions, and then your 6 groups will go back and prepare based on the questions. The second round of competition will take 7 days. The host announced. After speaking, all the contestants looked towards the mentor's seat on the second floor. Weapon mentor Jiang Meiqi stood up from her seat with a smile on her face and said, Hello everyone, I am the next round of examiner, and the question I am giving is Killing Sword. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Martial Soul Platform. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Martial Soul Platform Murder Sword. After Jiang Meiqi announced the next round of exam questions, the contestants were all stunned. Jiang Meiqi is nicknamed Peacock Sword, and it is not surprising that the exam questions she released are related to her swordsmanship. However, as a charming beauty, she tested Murder Sword, which surprised everyone a bit. But no matter what, the exam questions have been announced, and the next step is to practice in groups. However, this process will not be live broadcast, but will be filmed and edited into a video to be posted online. Okay, then I announce that the first episode of the second season of Wuxing Creation Camp has come to an end. The host said the concluding remarks, and then the photographer made an OK gesture. So everyone relaxed and the 5 mentors stood up and left each, while the contestants had to stay and wait for the next arrangements. Although the next round of live streaming will take 7 days, all contestants must undergo a closed recording during this period, where they have to stay in this building for food, accommodation, and training. A few minutes later, a staff member left with Li Xing and others, heading towards their respective dormitories. The production team has prepared 6 sets of collective dormitories for each of the 6 teams. The conditions may not be too good, but they are not considered poor. It is worth mentioning that each team leader can have a single room in the collective dormitories, which can be considered a benefit for the team leader. I suggest we introduce ourselves again so that we can quickly get to know each other. After all, from now on we are teammates. This was not said by Xing, but by another person in his team. The opponent's combat power value exceeds 1100, making them the person with the highest combat power value in this team. Upon hearing this, Xing looked at the person with a smile on his face, which should have been said by his captain. At this moment, the other party took the initiative to jump out, clearly in a snatching scene. There are cameras in the room, and the words and actions of these contestants will be edited into videos and posted online, which naturally means that the more scenes the contestants have, the more attention they can receive. Becoming a martial star requires strength, but it also requires traffic. Chen Yoxing frowned slightly and turned his head to look at Xing, saying, "You're the captain, what do you think?" "Huh, what's there to ask? Just introduce yourself, Xing. Do you have any objections?" That person doesn't seem to feel anything wrong and continues to seize the initiative. Xing. Before Xing could speak, a voice came from a staff member who suddenly appeared at the door. "Could you please come with me? Director Liu is looking for you." Xing was taken aback, then stood up and walked towards the door. The other 9 team members watched as Xing left, and the person who had just proposed to introduce themselves had an awkward expression. Director Liu, of course, is the chief director of the program team, Lu Na. Although I don't know why the other party wants to find Xing alone, it is obvious that this is a kind of value. Otherwise, why not find someone else? I think we should wait for Xing to come back and introduce ourselves. After all, he is the captain. Chen Yoxing looked at someone and said. No one objected. Director Liu. In a room, Xing met the chief director Lu Na. "Sit down." Lu Na crossed her legs and pointed to the sofa. After Xing sat down, she continued, "I'm here to ask you about the various changes in the release of Xing. Can we publish now?" Xing was momentarily taken aback, then stood up from the sofa. Lu Na was surprised that Xing would be so excited. After all, they were so calm when grouping before. She smiled and waved her hand, "Don't be so excited. Martial arts are created by you, so of course you can do it if you want." It has to be said that this chief director is a very charming woman, with every frown and smile carrying the charm of a mature woman. Of course, Xing wouldn't lose his composure when he saw a beautiful woman, but his heart was still racing at this moment, mainly due to the release of martial arts. In China, all new martial arts can only be released on one platform, which is the officially controlled Martial Soul platform, and the price is also strictly controlled. All martial arts are sold once, but even for peerless martial arts with a rating of 100+, the price of the first 3 layers will be very, very low. The official reason for doing this is to encourage more people to try more martial arts. There is no martial arts that are suitable for everyone, and some martial arts may only be suitable for a specific group of people. If a seemingly average person finds a martial arts that is very suitable for them, perhaps they can become a master with it. But no one can say for sure about these things, so we can only try more. Countless people who dream of becoming martial stars are also willing to try more. Maybe one day they will find the right martial arts skills for themselves and become amazing. Such examples have always existed. Huagua needs more martial arts masters, and the public also needs a dream that people can dream of, just like buying lottery tickets. Anyway, the price is not expensive, why not buy a hope for oneself every day? Even if the purchased set of martial arts is not suitable for oneself, or if this set of martial arts becomes a unique in the future, it will only result in a slight loss of the martial arts practice order, which will not make people feel heartbroken. On the contrary, if you buy something that suits you, you will earn a lot, just like winning a lottery. And the people who publish martial arts are not actually at a disadvantage, because there is a huge base there. Even if the price is low, as long as there are many buyers, they can still make a profit. Your versatile divine actions have received high praise from several mentors, especially Yan Hailong. This heavenly king is very optimistic about your versatile divine actions. Lu Na said, so I think it's better to take advantage of the current popularity and release this set of lightness skills first, don't you think? Li Xing, of course I agree. He doesn't even have a martial arts exercise order in his hand now, and it's time for him to be short of money. He wants to immediately release the various changes in his divine actions. Lu Na nodded and said, so this involves an issue. Before you joined the camp, you had already signed an agreement that any unpublished new martial arts displayed in the program would be divided into a portion of the revenue from the program after release. Li Xing understood what Lu Na had come to discuss with him, and of course he remembered the agreement. Half of the profits from the new martial arts released in the program belonged to the program team. He didn't think much of it, because you borrowed someone else's platform to promote your martial arts. If you didn't appear on this program, how many people would know about your new martial arts? Of course, the agreement is only valid for 2 years, and after 2 years, all profits will belong to oneself. Li Xing thinks it's quite fair, but since the agreement clearly states that the profits will be divided in half, Lu Na is still coming to him to discuss, obviously having ideas about the distribution of profits. How much does Director Lu think is appropriate? Li Xing asked very decisively. Oh, you're quite straightforward. Lu Na looked at him with a smile on her face. End of this chapter.